Is it live? It's live. Oh my goodness, we're live. Hello. Welcome to the show, Self Care with my co host, Michelle Froedge, the Rockstar Coach. And today we are going to talk about fractured souls. And we're going to talk about how you can heal, that you can heal fractured soul. And before we do that, I'm going to define the symptoms, and so will Michelle, of how do you know if you even have a fractured soul, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
I mean, and because I'm anticipating we're having new guests here today, why don't you take a minute, explain who you are, what you do. I'll do the same, and then we'll get into what are the symptoms if you have a fractured soul, what are some solutions, and like all of that.
All
Boom,
right.
whoa.
Cool. Well, I
Mhm.
am Michelle Froedge, the Rockstar Coach. I work with women to help them create their most amazing life. And I do this by using my intuitive abilities as well as energy work to help them crash through limiting beliefs and things that have stopped them in the past. These might be old patterns, um, uh, all sorts of lovely things that can stop us from getting where we want to go. So that is what I do, and I love every single minute of it.
Well, and we're similar in that respect, right? But really, I'm not focused on women. I'm focused on corporations, the mental health community, showing them how to release old belief systems that don't serve them, right? How to reframe mental health, because when we reframe these behaviors, they become much easier to modify and resolve, and people can rise up with ease and grace. And I do it through um, really two things, well, three things. One is teaching people how to live toxic free so they can access consciousness and really just have access to one another. And then the second thing is I use excuse me. I'm board certified in neuro linguistic programming, which is really a special word or phrase for easy peasy to modify your behaviors, right? And then the third thing is accessing consciousness so that what you can't hear or can't see for yourself, I can peer in and see for you. And so, uh, you know, you know, both Michelle and I are, I will just say this, really brilliant at what we do. Like really brilliant. And actually I'm in a group with Michelle, uh, um, the Wisdom Circle. And I'm just going to go on on record for saying that if you are a woman in business and you are looking to grow your business, participating and joining her wisdom circle um, is really the best thing that you can do. It's not only guidance in business, but it's moving energy together as a group that shifts out energy that doesn't serve you. We create a container that holds space every single day for us to manifest our best selves. There's way more to this, but I suggest that you schedule a discovery call with my girl, okay, and check this out because really, it's what $199. Is that
Yeah, less
correct?
than $200 a month, and there's no commitment. So you can come in for a month, see how you feel about it. Um, I I almost guarantee, I mean, I really do. I guarantee you're going to get way more than $200 worth out of it. Not just financially either. Yes, you likely will raise your finances during that time that you're in that energetic container, but you also expand your knowledge, your capacity, and your abilities, your tools, your gifts, your strengths, right? And you have that support of like minded women who are faced with the same kinds of challenges, right? And then also different challenges, so that when we get together, we can discuss those things. And as we all know, when we're in a group, somebody's going to ask a question, and it's not a question that you might have had yourself, but you're going to learn something from it. So it's just a beautiful place that I look forward to every single session.
Yeah, and so like I have 40 years in business, and I always was at the top of my game in terms of my business acumen, sales, always number one. But the thing is, when you're running your own business, now it's on you, and when you're, especially if you're starting out, you need that synergy and creativity and somebody else to help you with those blind spots. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so it kind of ties into what we're going to talk about today about
Hmm.
those blind spots, healing a fractured soul.
Hmm.
So I'm going to start with some of the things that I think are pretty important. I have a few pages of notes. So um, first of all, if you have a fractured soul, which if you're living, you probably do, just saying, don't worry, it's easy to help heal. You'll have memory issues. So you'll be present, well, you'll be in the same room with somebody speaking, but you won't actually have a memory or consciousness, and you won't be able to follow the trail. Sounds like Alzheimer's, early onset dementia. Yeah, ain't so. Try fractured souls. If you are having a fractured soul and you're not present, it creates a stressful situation for the people that you're serving, whether it's your family, your employees, your boss, doesn't matter. And you'll find that you play small, that um, that you're not getting the outcomes that you want, and you don't know why. You're like, well, I'm doing all the things. Well, the most important thing that you can ever do in life is be present in the moment. And if you're present in the moment, that means you're in your heart center. You're leading with love, leading with heart, which means then you're living on purpose. And it's very difficult to lead with love, if at all, if you have a fractured soul. A fractured soul. Let's talk about exactly what that is, and then Michelle's going to give some of her opinions and expertise actually about what those symptoms can be. When we are traumatized, okay, it could be a car accident, it could be a conversation, it could be just meeting somebody who reminds you of something that was traumatizing in your past. The biofield breaks, okay? And when the biofield breaks, the soul can break and it fractures off in another piece. It can go into another dimension, another timeline. But basically, it's outside of you. And it can be taken over by dark energy, or it could just be taken over by a different energy. It doesn't even have to be dark, but it's just not your energy. It's not your consciousness because you walked out and somebody else walked in. So, Michelle, take it away. That's
So,
a
what
little bit.
I have experienced a lot is um, judgment. So, either you are being judgmental, or even it can be that you feel very judged. Not necessarily that other people are judging you, but you feel very judged, right? You feel like, that song, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah, you're just like, what, right? So you're like paranoid, almost this
Wait,
paranoia.
you've never sang on the show
I
before.
know, I know.
It's good, and I just tuned in with you.
I had a reading this morning. A good friend of mine pulled some cards for me, and the card that came up, one of the cards that came up that's come up for a lot of people from the Moonology deck is show the world the real you. And so for whatever reason, I'm just like, I'm just going to sing whatever. I'm going to do it.
Well,
Just
it's funny. This is the real me. Have you ever seen these glasses on me?
no. And I told you, I love them. They look amazing. They are
Oh,
very you, very you.
well, it's more me than not. And I am a sparkle girl. I've got a sparkle hat. I've got sparkle boots. And I'm going to start wearing my sparkle because it makes me happy. And it's fun.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
and this was my mom. Like I'm her mini me.
I love
So
it.
yeah. So go back to singing and talking. I'm sorry. I
So
diverted.
yeah, so paranoia, right? Feeling judged, feeling scrutinized. Um Another thing that can happen is that you're very, very erratically emotional,
Hmm.
okay?
And
And
sensitive, right?
sensitive, yeah. And I want to draw the delineation here because when we, like, I'm a sensitive person, you're a sensitive person energetically, right? So sometimes that can get misconstrued as, oh, they're so sensitive. Well, we're only sensitive in that regard if we take it personally. So what I mean by being sensitive is taking things personally. um because as we know in the four agreements, one of the four agreements is don't take anything personally, right?
Hmm.
You can be sensitive, and that's a wonderful thing, to be sensitive, because then you're empathic, you're understanding, you are non-judgmental. But
Hmm.
when you are sensitive in the sense of taking things personally, that's what I mean when I say sensitive in this way. So those are the two main things that I see the most when I'm working with people.
Well, and people, I always had the hardest time with don't take things personally. Um, because I'm like, but it is personal, right? But
Yep.
when you stand back and become the observer and understand that you may just be showing up as a mirror for somebody,
Mhm.
and so that they can transmute an experience that no longer serves them. And judgment is a big thing. And so when we have judgment, it absolutely fractures your soul. Grief will fracture your soul. Um,
Mhm.
and going back to what you're saying, like, you know, people then are resistant when they're in that mode of judgment, grief, or fractured soul, to be very resistant to receiving feedback to clean that up, right?
Correct. Yes. And
And,
that's another point or part of being sensitive, right? You can't, or you're not willing to take feedback, or it's very difficult to take feedback.
well, and feedback is a gift. And I've
Very.
mentioned on the show before, um, we, and for those who have not heard it, um, sorry, Michelle, but it was in 1997 before I was misdiagnosed. I did a 360-degree profiler, and I highly recommended. The Fear Company offers 360-degree profilers. That is a perfect place to start because you will get feedback from people who you like, who you choose, and it's amazing. Like, I got all this feedback from people I liked, and they all had the same thing to say, and I chose them. So who am I going to point the finger at? Right? And they didn't collaborate. They didn't huddle in a room. Well, what do you think? Who should check? A, B, C, or D for Jodi? I don't know. Well, okay, let's collaborate and figure out how we can nail her butt to the wall. Not happening, folks. So, one of the things that I believe is that if we are actively receiving feedback, that is how we grow. because that feedback is that blind spot that you can't, that, I mean, if it's a blind spot, you can't see it, right, Michelle?
Yeah. Right.
So, you know, and one of the things I will say about Michelle, because, you know, I get coached by Michelle, um, and I coach Michelle on occasion too, but she's her own coach, that she tells me truth and she delivers it with ease and grace. But I really don't want friends with filters. So if you've got friends with filters, meaning they're not going to tell you the truth, I would ask you to assess whether or not that's a real friend.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Absolutely. And, so much of it comes from where we are within ourselves. If we are not able or willing to, oh, we've lost Jodi. If we're not able or willing to receive that feedback, receive that truth, then that it
It's
kind of shows up. Hi,
back. The
hello.
screen just went. I'm like,
I
okay.
just kept going. I knew you'd be back.
And
Yep.
I you carry the torch, so thank you.
But when you take inventory of who's around you, look at those people. Are they yes people?
Hmm.
If they are all yes people and you don't have one person that comes to you lovingly with the truth and some hard things sometimes to discuss, some hard conversations, um, then I would take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, am I willing and am I able to
Hmm.
receive that feedback? I just had a difficult conversation yesterday with someone, and this person didn't take offense to any of it because, and certainly it's, yes, it's in the delivery as well. However, you can deliver it as beautifully and easily and gracefully as possible. And if someone's not willing or able to receive it, it's going to feel awful to them. But this person received it and they agreed and they said, "You're right. You're absolutely right." And this is the type of people that we should desire to have in our lives, because like you said, Jodi, when we receive that feedback, that's the opportunity for growth. That's the opportunity for us to become whole again from being fractured, right?
And
So,
and flip that switch, man. Flip
yeah,
turn on that light,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. I think it's so important. And you really, you exemplify to me a person that takes feedback so well, because you are coachable. You want to learn, you want to grow, and you do understand that you have blind spots like all of us do, right? I used to have a coach that said, it's hard to see the picture when you're inside the frame, right?
That's a brilliant analogy,
Yeah.
right? It is hard to see the picture when you're inside the frame. and and then going back to fractured souls, I want to. I'm going to get really clear, and people don't get scared because it happens to everybody. What I'm going to tell you, whether or not you have awareness around this, is really the only thing. Okay, when your soul becomes fractured, it is a first of all, it's a safety mechanism for your brain because you're kind of like an input overload. You're like, oh my goodness, and you can't remember, right? And you get scared and you're not present. And you come in and out of a conversation and you can't retain the content. Now, if it makes you feel any better, I had a fractured soul and a walk in, by the way, when somebody walked into my body because my soul needed a break, a pause, from the age of 7 to the age of 50. It's a long time. Was it a walk in for all those years? No. in and out. What's the evidence? So my sister and I, at the age of like 9, had one of our arguments. Mom comes in, wants to know my side of the story. My sister tells her side. I can't remember squat, not a thing of what was said between us. Not a thing. So it is okay. There are many ways to easily heal fractured souls. um, both of us use, you know, energy work, our intuition. I also use neurolinguistic programming. I blend it. What else do you use? I mean, do you not simply? Oh, forgive me. Is that
No, no, no. Well, it is simple
it's
for
simple
those
for
of us.
us,
It comes easy too, right? It
right?
is
Comes easy
simple.
for us, yeah. But you
Um,
know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, of course,
it's
of course, of
years
course.
of training for us to be able to do what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah. So go
yeah.
ahead.
So I use auras. So I read auras. And so that's a very powerful tool that I use because our aura, this is something that a lot of people don't understand, I have found. Um, when you get, like, I see these things being advertised, like, get your aura photographed. Well,
Oh,
your aura changes constantly. Your
all day.
aura colors change constantly,
Mhm.
from moment to moment sometimes. So in the moment that I'm working with you
Mhm.
around, based around whatever it is we're working on, then I read the aura, and then I'm able to shift and break apart some of those blockages and things like that. So I use the aura colors and the energy work there. I also, very powerful tool, I'm certified in Akashic Records. And what that does is it allows us to go into your life's library, basically, and find the places. Sometimes they're revealed, sometimes they're not. It doesn't even really matter if they are revealed, but we're able to change, to heal, to redirect and shift things from your past, things from your present, and things that would likely become your future. And I say likely because I believe that nothing is set in stone. We are co creators. And if we don't like the trajectory of our life, we can change it.
All day long. And you taught me, I mean, I've been accessing Akashic records, I don't know for how long,
Mm-hmm.
but you taught me to rewrite them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, score, right?
Yeah, our soul contracts and things like that can be rewritten. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you gave me a bone and I built a flipping cow.
Yeah. Yeah. You
And,
ran with it.
and
It's powerful.
and so people, like I want to tell you, you do not have to have, if you can have the life that you have, okay? And if you're happy and you're on target and you're getting what you want, awesome.
Yep.
But what would it look like if you opened up your Akashic records and you saw that was written that you agreed to suffer through everything?
Mm.
Hmm?
No, thank you.
Right? What if you could rewrite that?
Yes, please.
Hmm. What else? I mean, what if you opened your Akashic records and you found out that you agreed to not have financial abundance?
No,
Hmm.
thank you.
Right? So these agreements, whenever they were made, you have the right, the divine right, to make new agreements and cross out those other ones.
Mhm.
So you've got two women on fire, mhm, who know how to do this and more to help you lead your best life. Now, why would this be important? Because other people see you. And so if you're not having the friendships, the deep friendships, the promotions that you thought you were supposed to get, don't be fooled. People see you. Okay? They feel you, they see you. Okay. By the way, you don't have to be in the same room, state, country, whatever, for them to feel you. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
I'm trying to. Oh, and the other thing is, having a fractured soul is a silent killer. Kills your relationships, kills your joy. It's a joy killer all day long. Okay. Um, kills your career, and it's a huge liability. And if you are unconscious, which is what if you have a fractured soul, that means on some level you are experiencing many, many, many unconscious moments, and you're playing small, even though you may think that you're playing full out, and likely making rash decisions, which are causing poor outcomes and stress. Just looking at my other notes. Oh, this is the big one. And I'm going to give the description. I'm going to let you give, like, I want you to take the deep dive.
Okay.
Okay. And I know you can. 'Cause,
Okay.
yeah. When you have a fractured soul and you're not present, you are creating distrust. You are non inclusive, meaning you're not including others and you're excluding yourself from life. And when you are causing that, when you have these fractured souls or walk ins or both, in a lot of cases, this distrust is hurting everything that you do, your career, family, friends, and you're likely choosing words that are destroying what you value most. And I'm going to let my girlfriend give at least 6 examples. Go for it. Or whatever.
Well, this shows up in so many ways, but the real the real core of it, so to speak, the root of the issue of the distrust comes from lack of trust in self. And the reason that you cannot or do not trust yourself is because you are living in this, like, sometimes conscious, sometimes not type reality, which is no reality at all. It In one moment you're making a decision and it's beautiful and everything works out great, and then in the next minute this subsequent decision that you make is like, where did that come from? Why would I have done that? Why would I have said that? Right? And so, like Jodi said, you say things like off the cuff that you're like, where did that come from? That is not how I would have wanted to present myself. That is not how I feel, etc., etc. And so you start to then doubt yourself. And when that starts, then you start either one of two things. You either lash out and you go into complete control mode and you become a tyrant, right? Or you go the opposite direction and you pull back and you completely fear taking a stand or speaking up at all because you're fearful of what might come out. Who might I be in the moment? Where might this decision or this choice be coming from, or this action, or these words, right? And so it all comes down to you don't trust yourself. And that then leads to other people not trusting you, because if you don't trust yourself, no one else is going to either. Sometimes
May I
it.
just add to that real quick and then
Mhm.
right back the floor?
Yep.
Trust is a frequency,
Hmm.
it's a resonance. And so people may not even know why they don't trust you,
Hmm. Right.
right? And they can feel it.
Right.
Something's off. You don't get that job. You don't get that date. You don't get whatever it is. And it seemed like it was the perfect fit. And no,
Hmm.
it's not.
Hmm.
Please go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like those red flags, and you're like, I don't know why I don't feel a certain way, but I do feel a certain way, but I just do. Like that feeling that you get when you know something's off, something's not quite right. And you know, other people will start to feel that from you. And it doesn't, here's the scary thing, people, and I don't mean to scare you, but hello, if you're not conscious of it, if you don't even know that it's happening, you're not going to understand why you didn't get the date, why you didn't get the promotion, why your spouse is, withdrawing, or whatever the case may be. And so the key then too is to go inside. And this is what Jodi and I teach all the time. It is never, I will repeat this, it is never someone else's fault. You are always the reason behind whatever you are experiencing. Okay. And I get lashed out at, I get pushed back, I get people just so angry about this when I say it. And I will keep saying it. Because have I had horrible, awful things come up in my life? Hell yeah. And who is responsible? Me. Me. For one reason or another. And I won't go into it deep, but we have to start taking responsibility. We have to start having accountability for what we experience. And then when we change our own experience based on going in and doing the inner work, everything on the outside changes. And it's like a miracle. That's what a miracle is.
Yeah, I'm typing something here.
I hear you.
So what is reflecting back to you? Life is a mirror.
Yeah.
What is reflecting? And here's the thing. Michelle, how easy was it for you to do all the work that you've done?
Oh, exhausting.
I want to ask you an important question.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
All the time.
Bawl?
Yes.
Scream?
Yes.
Have angry thoughts?
Yes. Ask why.
Listen, are you a healer?
Yep.
Wait a second. And you bawled, you screamed, you had angry thoughts, and you're a healer?
Yeah.
Wait, aren't I supposed to say that you're not allowed to do that if you're a healer?
Nope. That's why we can and do.
Hmm. Is that the why, or is there another why you wanted me to ask you?
We go through things as people, not just as healers or coaches or teachers. We go through things as people, I believe, not only for our own growth, but for others as well. Because, like you said, life is a mirror. And those people that are in our lives reflect back to us things that we need to learn. So, don't you think that we reflect things back to them that they need to learn as well?
Yeah. And when you understand, yes, yes, yes. And when you understand life is a mirror, and you may have a fractured soul, what happens when you drop a mirror? Right? Fractures all over,
Mm-hmm.
right? Little pieces, shards of light. And what is God? Shards of light. So you can take those shards of light and bring them back in a new form, healed, filled with love, releasing, but you don't need it. Because at the end of the day, you are God. You are love. You are God. Everyone has God in them, every single one of you.
Mhm.
And when you understand that you are God and that you're also here in human form and you're here to learn, but not to be shamed,
Mhm.
you're here to be loved and you are loved. And sometimes we have been wounded in a way that stops our heart from expanding. And we can choose a different path. And really, the choice is yours. By the way, I don't think we can see comments today. I can only see comments on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
So, Mercury is retrograde.
Oh,
We're dancing with Mercury.
yeah, she's really having some fun.
Mhm.
Let me tell you.
So if you have comments, please go to YouTube and share those comments. I will actually pick up my phone. It's on Do Not Disturb and see if there's anything on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Great.
What else do you want to share about what we're saying?
Well, I think I'd like to share hope that
Hmm.
if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, let's say, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to live in that space. Is there are solutions. Um, are they always something that causes you to cry and bawl and scream? No, they aren't. But they are sometimes. And the deeper you're willing to go, sometimes the more raw it becomes. But let me tell you what's on the other side of that. There is no comparison to the freedom, to the joy, to the happiness, to the bliss, to the complete surrender, and not surrender like you give up, but surrender is a knowing that everything is working out for you. Truly.
Yeah, I mean, and God came to me and said that the power is not in the control, but it's in the surrender.
Yes. Amen.
So
Amen. Amen.
take credit for it. He just used my mouth.
Love it. Love it.
Hmm.
Love it.
Power is not in the control, but in the surrender.
Yes.
And when one of the things, I don't write about this in my book, but it's worth talking about relative to surrender. So uh, not a big fan of needles, okay? And it's 2015 or 16, okay? I'm at the tail end of my journey of when I was disabled. And God comes to me and says, walk down the street, because I was like in the middle of downtown Palatine, Illinois, and go to the blood drive and give blood.
You're like, I'm sorry, say what?
Yeah, and really, read between the lines, right? So, and I went, my veins collapsed, because of fear, right? But I met a chiropractor who is now since passed, Larry Pizek, who was really helpful and instrumental in connecting me to people I needed to be connected to. So, oh, let me give the best surrender I had ever did. The very best surrender I ever did. I moved to Georgia and it was I think December 14th or 15th. And Melissa Hergert, I don't know if I'm saying her last name correctly.
Hergert. Yep.
Hergert, she's having a vision board party. I don't know her personally. I know of her. I do know her personally now. Thank you. She's a great, amazing woman. Um, and I don't want to go. I don't know anybody. I don't want to go. And I had at that time was both wounded and shy. Not the combination for going out. And I met you. And I met you. Wow. Talk about gratitude. And had I not surrendered to what he wanted me to do, where would we have met? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he would have given me a second chance, probably. But the point is, if you're talking to God, first, listen for an answer. Second, do exactly as he tells you to do, even if you don't understand. That's where the miracle is.
And I would like to add to that too, please. Um, if you are not comfortable or if it doesn't resonate with you to talk to God, talk to your higher self, talk to the universe, put it out there. Just ask the question and then listen for the answer.
Right, because you are God, right? So higher self God.
Because, yes, you do have all the answers. We have all the answers. And so, oftentimes it's like this cycle. It's like, well, if we have all the answers, why do we need help finding them? Well, because we have blind spots. Hello, didn't we tell you that? We all have blind spots, and we all have things that we are not willing or able to see or to hear at any given time, right? And so, can we do it on our own? Absolutely, we can. We can. Can it be easier and quicker sometimes with help? Absolutely.
Well, and I think it's much easier with help. Here's what I want to say. There was an acupuncturist who was a good friend of mine back in Illinois, and she taught me how to use my body as a pendulum. And that was back in, I think, 2000, maybe 17, 18, right? From that one thing, I mean, I literally taught myself most of what I know, because I wanted to anchor into God like it was nobody's business. That was my mission. Connect with him, right? Look, you don't have to have the same mission. That was mine. Okay.
Right.
So I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I forget what I was going to say. What was I going to say, Michelle? Read my higher self mind. Let's just see.
Acupuncturist, body, pendulum. You have all the answers.
Yeah. Let me go into spirit. What would you like me to share with the group? Oh, that we are capable of doing whatever it is that we set out to do. And we can't access everything and anything ourselves. And there's a caveat. You have to remember that we have blind spots. And so I have a group of healers that I work with, and we exchange. Some I pay, some I don't. Most of them I don't. But, because we're exchanging, because they can see what I can't see and vice versa. And so depending on where you are on your path, you may need to hire somebody to teach you what you need to learn. And if accessing consciousness like the way that we do doesn't resonate with you for you to do it, That's okay. That's why we're here. We will do it for you. We will help you shift your behaviors. We will help you anchor in new belief systems, new patterns, release old belief systems and old patterns that are not serving you, and show you a path. So, I mean, this may sound silly to some people, but it was the best thing I ever did. My doctor at the time, Dr. Michelle Kukla, who is also one of the people who are giving praise and endorsing my book, Emotional Healing Toxic Free Living. I used to, when I went back to work, I used to bring a list of how do I handle this situation, right? And what are the best words to use? The word collaboration was the best word she ever gave me. How can we best collaborate? Is what she said. She goes, Jodi, just ask them that question, and it's an open ended question because words are vibrations. And so if we can ask a question that provides an open space and an open forum for dialogue to occur, then you are now collaborating. You are giving, you're receiving, and that's the synergy that we all need in life. And actually, my girlfriend does this. Do you want to tell them about the, and forgive me, there's so many cob women stuff. I don't know the name of the group that I go to tomorrow.
Yes, it's Women's Business Connections,
Thank you.
and we meet weekly. We have 4 different meetings weekly, different days, different times, different leaders for those. And our members can attend any of those. And what we do is just what Jodi was saying. We collaborate. It is a mastermind. So we help one another. First, we learn, right? And we come together as business owners, entrepreneurs, as women who are seeking to be entrepreneurs. And we come together as like minded women who learn together and want to grow our businesses both individually and collectively. And so we learn together, we grow together, and we also help one another with anything that may be coming up in our business, right? And this is, I like to say, this is like step one. And then wisdom circle is like that next level, right? We go even deeper. And the women's business connections is an in-person, for right now, um, event in the Georgia, Atlanta, Marietta area. I will give a little sneak peek that in January, we will be adding a virtual component one
Oh,
time a week. So, for those of you that are not in the Georgia area or not in the Marietta area,
or
um,
traveling that week.
right, you will be able to attend that meeting. And these meetings are they're capped, not sure about the virtual, but the in-person meetings are capped at about 15 women. So we do that because we want it to be intimate. We want everyone to get the chance to speak and to be heard, right? And to feel like they are a part of something that matters. Because when you're in a big group, you can sit back and be a wallflower and feel like you don't have much impact. But when you're in a smaller container, everybody has a part and everyone is very, very important. So that's, if you want more information about that, just put WBC in the comments, and I will get back to you with that.
Yeah, and I did put up some banners, not banners, excuse me, in the chat, all the links for Michelle and myself. Um, so you can look in the comments for sure on YouTube. I don't think it's showing up on Facebook. So go to
It's not.
Susan,
I'm on Facebook right now just to see, and nothing is showing up.
and it's okay. Go to Susan Essentials YouTube channel. And it's really just go to YouTube, Susan, Suson, Essentials. Dot com, not a .com. Sorry, just Susan Essentials. Um, you know, here's the thing. And also, I'm just going to share a couple things that we're doing. I have a high vibe tribe full moon healing once a month. Right now, we have anywhere between 6 and 8 healers, plus Fagala and Tinkerbell, who are trained in Reiki and divine intervention. And Fagala and Tinkerbell are my parrots. And yes, they are trained in healing. Actually, it's much easier for animals than it is for us because we are too much in our head and not in our heart. So that is $111 once a month. And if you can't make that, we are actually we're I'm taking these recordings now. We're going to sell them for $165. So it's better to go live because then you get the live and you get the recording. But if you don't buy the live, it goes up to 165, and you can have access to them. That starts next year in terms of buying the past ones. But the things that we're doing for people is transformational. You'll have a you'll have a description about what the focus is for each one. But one of the most important ones that we've ever done, and Fagla's pushing her breast out right now. She's like, lead with love, mommy. Right? So we're teaching people how to really get in their heart center and lead with love, right? And again, release things that don't serve you. So it's a great way to step in, get your toes wet, and see if this is for you. Um, Anything else you think that we should cover, Michelle, relative to fractured souls and walk-ins? I'm
I
gonna
think
go ahead.
I think the key here is to like not live in fear, obviously, but if you find yourself um you know acting ways that are not normal for you or feeling ways that are not normal for you, um saying things that are not normal for you, that might be a clue. And so again, just step back for a moment, take a look, start to ask some questions of God, the universe, your higher self, and then listen for the answers. The answer may be very clear to you, very specific, and you may know exactly what action to take. If it's not clear, then please reach out for help. If it's not Jodi or myself, please reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
Please reach out for help. There is nothing, not only is there nothing wrong with asking for help, by asking for help, you are actually telling the universe, I know that I can change. I know this can be resolved. And I know that there is a solution out there and I'm open to it.
Yeah, I was talking to Kay. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce her last name correctly, Aubrey, and she is the owner of Photonic Institute, Therapy Institute, out in Arizona. She is my mentor and trainer for light therapy, and it's not just pads; it's also using torches to help people with their emotional issues or shifting pain out. You're using the meridians, the acupuncture points, but using light instead of needles. Remember, I don't like needles, and so um, she's someone that I get around and I'm like almost speechless. And I said, that's really comical given that I have a podcast and I wrote a book that's almost 300 pages long, uh, that I get speechless around you because she is, so wise. And so what she said to me today was, I told her how grateful I was that, we met a year ago. And she says, well, Jodi, she goes, you bring into your life what you need. You just have to ask.
Mhm.
I said, I know. And I said, but sometimes you just get even more than what you ask for.
Yes. And
Right.
isn't that a blessing?
Yeah. So, um, so again, these fractured souls, I'm just going to do a quick, overview. You may lack self awareness. People may tell you things, and it seems like, oh, that doesn't seem like me. And then you'll find that people are falling off in your life because there's a lot of distrust. Your career is not working how it needs to work. Your family's falling apart. Your friends aren't. Your lifeline's not there. Um, you know, um, you're becoming reactionary, a little confused. You're not as innovative and creative as you think you'd like to be. And you're kind of like turning off that valve versus, flipping the switch. The valve is going off versus flipping the switch on to what you need. And you're losing credibility fast in your community because you're not connecting from your heart. And the reason you can't connect from your heart, because it ain't there. Okay. Energetically, boom, it popped out of your body. So, and it hurts. Like you feel sad, you feel depressed. Um, you may have more stress than what you're comfortable having. We all have stress. And you're operating in fear from feedback, or someone might really see you for who you are. And look, who you are is perfect. And even with your flaws, they're perfect. The only problem is if you're not willing to receive the feedback, people are going to fall off quickly. I mean, they're going to walk away
Mhm.
because if you want, oh, thank you, Tinkerbell. If you want, thank you, Tinkerbell. I get it now. If you want something different, you need to do different. And what Tinkerbell just said, because she flew around the room, she says, be the wind beneath your own wings. Lift yourself up. And that's her squawking. She's usually pretty quiet.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like Fagala.
Nope, that's so Fagla mimics Tinkerbell. And Fagla actually has a Kaik voice, which is very different from a Kanye voice.
Huh.
Um, and so I'm like, and so I had to help Fagla find her actual voice because she was busy mimicking uh, Tinkerbell, who is the older soul. We call her wise old owl. And Fagla is Dora the Explorer. So anyway, so I think that if you can look at those things, um, you can and release the shame, right? And if we have to go into your Akashic records and rewrite that so you don't have shame, we can do that too. Okay. So, because maybe that's what's stopping you from being the best version of yourself. You're so worried about what other people think. Optics are huge, but they don't have to be. Whatever it is that you got that's not working, it doesn't have to be.
Yes.
Anything else? Yeah. I mean, are we good?
Yeah.
Do you have something else, Faggy, or no? Mm-mm, she's good. All right. So, um, the next podcast is in a couple weeks. Um, I think it's the 17th. Hold on. So, as you guys know, or people who follow me anyway, next podcast is with Third Rock Essentials. They make silver, like I think it's colloidal silver or
Mhm.
chelated. I don't remember. I just know that it works really well for my body. Um, the uses are endless for maintaining amazing health. After that, I will not be on the rest of the year because it falls on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. But starting next year, we're here every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, like clockwork. The book will be launched. Um, and I'll do a special podcast for that, and we'll have all the contributing authors on there. And I want to tell you another great way. If you want to change your life, read this book because it's a path and it's an easy path. Oh, I'm not. Yeah, you're right. I'm a liar. It's not an easy path, but it's an easier path. Tinkerbell's mommy,
It's
you're
a guide.
easy.
It's a guide to the path.
It's much easier though when you have a guide.
Yes, absolutely.
So, mm, sending you my love. Thank you for being here. And thank you for everything that you do for the community.
Yes.
And thank you for everything you do for me. And we will see you back here in January. I don't know the date, honestly, but the first Tuesday. I think it's the 7th, January 7th.
I think you're right.
It is because I was going to have this other woman on the 7th, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that.
It is.
I,
It's the 7th, correct.
and on the 14th, I have a woman. Her name is Rochelle, and she's an astrologer. And she's,
Ooh.
Psychic medium.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how it is when you see someone, you're like, oh, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. She's doing. Oh, we have a comment.
I was going to say, oh my goodness, we just now got our first comment that we can see.
It's $ DZ4CRT. Is the I don't know who that is.
Thank you, whoever you are. We appreciate the comment.
They got what they have is gratitude, love. They have headphones.
Mm-hmm.
They have somebody who is meditating, and then they have mail.
Mm-hmm.
So I sense it's filled with love. And if it's not, I'm going to convert it anyway. All right, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you, everyone, and join us on the 17th. And God bless.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.